guys, how you doing? This is a video about the handbrake and when to use it and what is expected of you on your driving test. So I'm talking from a manual car perspective here, and I'm also talking about a handbrake, a stick handbrake, which looks like this. Excuse my car. Yeah, stick handbrake, right? The one with the thing, right? Sorry about all my drinks and my chewing gum. Yeah, that's basically anybody who gets into my car. I'm always like, just treat the car like it's yours. If you see any sweets in here or any like chewing gum, please just help yourself. So I love that about my students. They get in and they just like eat my stuff, and I like that. It feels like home. It feels like we're just like in a home together. I love that. I love that. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Right, so like talking about the handbrake on your driving test, right? I'm going to be really honest with you. I'm going to be really honest with you. If you go to this driving test and you pull off from the side of the road and you get rid of the handbrake and then you don't use the handbrake again for the rest of the test, you're going to get away with it, right? But you are running really big risks, because if you roll, then you could fail. If you roll backwards, you can fail your test. I don't teach for people not to use their handbrake all the time. I teach to use the handbrake to secure the car when we're waiting for more than 3 seconds at traffic lights and stuff like that. And I certainly teach it on hills, okay? So, but I'm going to put it out there that it is totally possible for you to go around an entire test route and not use your handbrake, and you could get away with that, yes. Some cars have hill assist on it, and if you have been trained by your accompanying driver to use your hill assist with perfection, then okay, fine, yeah, all right, don't need to use your handbrake, right? But for those who can't find the biting point in that 1 second that you've got where the car holds the hill, holds you still on the hill for 1 second, for the students who need a little bit more time, yeah, then the handbrake is there. I'm a driving instructor. I use the handbrake. It's amazing. It's like dotting the I's and crossing the T's. It makes your car drive immaculate. It is incredibly impressive to me. It looks really nice. If one of my students, if I say to my student we should put the handbrake on here, if my student was to turn around to me and say, oh no, it's too time consuming, I don't want to do that. The reason why it's time consuming is because you haven't done it enough. You're not skilled at it enough. You haven't done it enough to be ninja-like quick at it yet. Yeah. So you actually need to do it to become skilled at using it, so that when you come up to the hill, you stop on it and you put the handbrake on, and then you set your biting point and go and drive off, and it's fine. When you stop at lights to secure the car, you put the handbrake on. So when you're driving around, let's just say traffic lights to begin with. You're driving down the road and the traffic light goes red, right? On your driving test, if you stop at the light, when you go brake on, clutch down, you stop there. If you were to leave the clutch down and put your brake on, and for the entire light system, and you're on a flat, yeah, you're going to get away with it. But to be honest with you, the examiner's going to notice, because you haven't secured the car at the lights. So putting the handbrake on and taking your foot off the foot brake, one, stops dazzling the person behind because you've taken your brake lights off, because those brake lights are really powerful. So you're not dazzling the person behind with your brake lights anymore. And you're not using your bulbs, which can basically break like any other bulb, right? Which you have to replace, which is annoying. So you're putting less pressure onto the bulbs anyway, and you're not dazzling them. But also, if you get smacked in from behind, which is a very common accident to happen, if somebody smashes into the back of you and you haven't got your handbrake on, through shock you're going to bring your feet off everything, and then you could go forward into the car in front of you or into the junction because you've got no brakes on. If you have the handbrake on, yeah, then at least you've got some brakes on, that if you get smashed in behind, that you are literally going to stay more where you are because you've got some brakes on. So it's much safer. If a pause turns into a wait, if you're going to be waiting for more than 3 seconds at a traffic light or at a junction, I recommend that you use your handbrake, yeah, because you're waiting anyway. Then you can put your handbrake on, you can come off the foot brake, you can set the gas, find the biting point, and then you can pull away with your gas, and you can move away quickly when you want to. Maybe it's a roundabout, maybe it's a hill stop, maybe it's a T-junction, whatever it is, yeah. So really important. When you're coming up to a hill start, if you go up to a really big hill start and you decide not to use the handbrake, you run the risk when you come off the foot brake to set the gas that you're going to roll backwards, yeah? You run that risk. And if you roll backwards, it's not only dangerous for the person behind, but you could fail your driving test because you're rolling, yeah? Some of my students, well, try and find the biting point with the foot brake on. And this is a big no. Guys, if I was like more talented at the computer, I would have that noise coming up right now from the X Factor, yeah, but I don't know how to do that. Maybe one day when you guys make me so like famous that I can have an editor here, then maybe I'll have the X Factor noise going off, right? But it's just a big no-no. You don't find your biting point with your foot brake on. You're telling the car to go and stop. We certainly do not do that because we haven't even got any gas involved with the car. That is a strong possibility of stalling. We have to set the gas and find the biting point. If you've got the brake on and you find the biting point, you're literally telling the car to go and stop at the same time. Very strong likelihood of stalling because your foot brake holds all 4 tyres. And when you come up to the bite, you won't be able to feel any response like you would do if your handbrake is on because it only holds the back 2 tyres. If you find the biting point with the handbrake on, the front of the car lifts up, you can feel it. But if you've got your foot brake on and you find the biting point, you're not going to feel anything because all 4 tyres have got your brakes on. So if you come up, it's very likely that you could go past the biting point without even realising and stall on the spot, right? If you do get away with it, you might find a biting point which is so strong, but you still wouldn't know. So there's like a bomb of energy, which is like shaking with like crazy, unbelievable bomb of energy behind there. So when you come off the foot brake out of control, you will go forward out of control. So what you need to do is when you stop on the hill, you go brake on, clutch down, stop on the hill, hand brake on, off the foot brake immediately, set the gas, 1.5 to 2,000 revs depending on the gradient, find the bite. Then when you release the handbrake, you keep your feet still. You've got a beautiful stop there on your hill, and then you can then lift and dip your clutch so you have a controlled way of pulling out. Way less likely to stall the car here because you can set the gas. It's very hard to stall a car that's got gas. Think of a boy racer, yeah? I'm not trying to teach you to be a boy racer when I say these things, but think of a boy racer, yeah? They'll set the gas really high, and to do a wheel spin, they'll just take the foot off the clutch and it wheel spins, and they love it. Now, I'm not trying to teach you to do that, but the point is they're not able to stall because they've got so much gas that the car is unable to stall because it latches on when they lift their clutch up with no skill at all and they burn their tyres into the ground. Yeah, which I don't agree with at all, but my point is they don't stall because they've got all that gas. So if you've got a stalling problem and you're setting the biting point with your foot brake on, guys, use your handbrake more. Handbrake more. If you use your handbrake more, you will become so fast at it. You will be like a ninja, like I said, and you will just do it in split seconds. And you'll set the gas and find the biting point and you'll be able to move off. You'll be able to take smaller gaps at roundabouts with this technique as well. Because if you've been waiting for ages, if a pause turns into 8 and you've got your handbrake on, if a pause turns into 8, and you've set your gas, found the bite, and then you can go off quickly. You can just go off quickly. It's so much better, guys. Please watch my other video about the foot thing. I've probably linked it already if I haven't put it at the top already, and I'll link it at the end. You mustn't be finding your biting point with your foot brake on. That is bad practice. I certainly wasn't taught to teach my students that. I don't know where it comes from. When my students do it, they don't want to roll backwards. They're like, oh, I don't want to roll backwards, don't want to come off my brake, so I'll find the bite. But you need to put the handbrake on. When you feel that, you need to put the handbrake on, yeah? So the hills need the handbrake. When you come up to traffic lights and you're stopping for more than 3 seconds, you should put the handbrake on to stop dazzling the person behind with your foot brake lights. And also, if you get hit from behind, then you won't go too far forward. What other points did I want to make with this? I feel like I've missed something. Just give me a moment for a sec. Yeah, on a hill, like you want to set your gas at 2,000, find the bite, and when you release the handbrake, you keep your feet still. I think I've said that, but I'll link other videos to like hill starts as well. Yes, you can do an entire test without the handbrake, but you run loads of risks, guys. Yeah, you run loads of risks. If people have been learning with their parents, sometimes I notice that they don't use their handbrake a lot, but there's a lot of rolling going on. There's a lot of stalling going along. There's a lot of shaking and it's just not neat and tidy. It's literally like neatening the drive. It's impressive and it's nice. And you're using a function of the car that is there to help you. It's literally there to help you. If you're saying to yourself, oh, it feels time consuming to use that, I don't want to do it, it's because you're not skilled at it. It's just because you're not skilled at it. You need to do it more. You need to go through the hell of doing it, and like doing it and being like, right, I know how to do it quick. I know how to do it quick now because I've done it so many times. Yeah. So I really hope this helps you today. I think neatening up your drive, it looks impressive, guys. Use your handbrake. Yeah. Don't run the risk of rolling down hills. All right, guys. So I really hope that helps you today, and I'll see you on the next one.